Councilor, Chairman of the Public Safety Committee. We're waiting for the other two colleagues to come down, but this meeting was scheduled for 6, and you're all here, and we have city officials here. So I can't officially open the meeting because we need a quorum. We need to have a quorum of the subcommittee. But we do have officials from the city. The chief is here. I see Laura Ferreira, Joe Bisco from building, Roger Dufour is here, and anyone, did I miss anyone else? So what we're going to do, I'm going to turn this over to management, building management, and I guess you'll read some of the agenda and...
No, I want the chief to speak.
Want the chief to speak? And if the colleagues or anyone, we just need one more colleague to come, then I can open up the meeting as a full public meeting. But until that point, it'll just be an exchange between any of you and any questions you'd like to ask the chief or the other people that are here. And of course, I will participate in my role as city council. So with that said, Chief, do you want to address this group?
Can everybody hear me without the microphone? Great, thank you very much. Good evening and welcome, folks. I'm very thrilled to be here. I've been the chief for nearly 7 years, and I've not yet to come visit you folks here at Borden Place. And I'm certainly glad to be here, and I'm very happy at the turnout this evening. It shows that you folks really care about your community here. I go to many neighborhood association meetings, which are communities in and of themselves, and this here is a neighborhood within itself called Borden East, and some of you folks may be from across the street over at Borden West. I'm happy to say that in my tenure as chief and in my career prior to that, I have 28 years of service on the police department. This has been a very safe neighborhood and a very safe building. And part of why we're here tonight is to keep it that way. I looked at the agenda and I see some of your concerns, and the concerns that you may have that involve myself and my department, anything that I can do, I assure you that we will take positive steps to remedy for you on your behalf. The nightclub activity and disturbances on South Main Street, I want to tell you that during the daytime and during 4 to midnight shifts, we have a walk and beat. It's called Walk and Beat Route 1 that walks up and down South Main Street. If there's any concern over here in this area, I will immediately, tomorrow in fact, go in and assure that the walk and beat that patrols South Main Street expands his route to come over here and walk through your parking lot and walk around your building as well. That's a permanent walk and beat that's filled every single day of the year, during the day, and during the 4 to midnight shift as well. Now I have with me tonight Sergeant Jack Silva, John Silva. He is from the Special Operations Division of our police department, and one of his many jobs is to be our community liaison officer. He is the liaison officer between our police department and all of our neighborhood associations. The city has about 10 or 11 organized neighborhood associations. Sergeant Silver is the liaison with the leadership of all of those neighborhood associations. So I'm going to encourage all of you to get to know Jack or Sergeant Silva. And if you have any concerns or any questions later on, I do have to leave a bit early. I have a previous engagement. However, Sergeant Silver will be there for you. He will be accessible for you tonight, and he'll also be very accessible for anyone here, as well as management of this building and Borden West at any time after this. That we're here to serve you folks, and I'm thrilled to say that we're not called upon very often to do so, because that tells me that thankfully this is a beautiful building, a wonderful building. And I just spoke to a resident that's been here since the day it opened, and I asked how things had been, and she said it's just as beautiful as it was 26 years ago, and I'm thrilled to see that. It is a wonderful building. But then again, I see that you're interested in increasing police patrolling at both buildings. Sometimes sidewalks are blocked on South Main Street by cars in the driveway area. I will alert the officers that drive in the sector cars around here. You might see car 11. This is sector 11 that you live in. We'll advise the additional patrols that might come through here to keep an eye out. Laura Ferreira from the traffic department, which is a subsidiary of the police department, Well, I'm sure you folks are going to make her aware of some concerns that you may have with parking outside the front here. And you know, as they say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So I might drive by here 20 times a week and not realize you folks are in fact having a problem with some parking issues. But if you come to us and you tell us what the problem is, I can guarantee you, there's not many things in life that are guaranteed, but I'll tell you what's guaranteed. If you call me or you call John Silva with a problem that's bothering you in this neighborhood, we are going to give it our immediate attention. And it will be resolved. I can promise you that it will be resolved. We are fortunate in the police department to have a special operations division that is able to be utilized in a discretionary manner. These are officers that do not have permanent assignments to the everyday sector car patrol. We are able to use them in areas of the city that we deem to be most necessary for them to be patrolling. And we take care of problems as they crop up. And we're fortunate to continue to have that ability to have this extra unit of officers because we've received a great deal of support from the city administration and from this board that you're going to be meeting tonight, I think, which is chaired by Councilor Ray Hague. It's councilors like Ray Hague that vote on appropriating the financing for us to keep having the resources to do what we are able to continue to do. So I think we owe a debt of gratitude to our city administration. Mayor Lambert is leaving, as you know, but the city council are the folks that vote on the appropriations for my budget, and from day one for the past 7 years, they've all been very supportive, particularly the chair of the Public Safety Committee, Councilor Ray Hague, who's worked wonderfully along with my administration. Thank you very much. So folks, thank you. Thank you so much. Certainly, think about any issues you might want to discuss. Sergeant Silva's on duty tonight. He's going to remain here. He'll be able to address any problems that you may have. Again, he will make himself accessible to you today and for any time after this. And please, never hesitate if you have a problem. The number's in the book, Fall River Police Department. Call and ask for Chief Souza. I take calls from citizens all the time. We can chat, and you can send me a note or whatever you want. And I do guarantee if you have an issue or a problem in regards to public safety, we're certainly going to be here for all of you. Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to have Pat open this up and read the agenda that she put together. And again, if the colleagues do come, we'll open up a full subcommittee meeting. But right now, we're in a matter of time because you're all here. We want to continue to go this way, okay?
Good evening, folks. Thank you all for attending, by the way. It's a great turnout. When we run out of chairs in either community room, we call it a great success. As you can see, if you have the agenda in front of you, I have highlighted 4 different issues that have been brought to my attention and that are important to the residents of both East and West. One of them are the crosswalks. And when we say crosswalks, we're not talking particularly about just the one here on 2nd Street. We're referring to the one also on South Main Street. Some time ago, I'm sure many of you remember the signs that were being put out there and how rapidly they were destroyed by traffic. Now, there has to be a better solution. And this is why we've asked the Safety Committee to come and meet with us so they can take our concerns back to the people that can probably help us. I'd like a couple of the people in the building or in this room that have had experiences with crossing South Main Street or 2nd Street to stand up and briefly give a description of what happened. Could you do that? I know one of them is Ruth Coette. She's here at East, and she's going to stand up and tell you what happened to her trying to cross 2nd Street. And this is basically for the police department to listen to, please. Ruth?
Well, 3 times I almost got hit. First time was by a bus. I was crossing in the middle of the crosswalk, and I could feel the breeze go by. I thought I lost 10 pounds in the back. And I chased the bus up Borden Street, and he didn't stop. And then I took the number of the bus and I called the bus station, and they told me there was no such bus. And then twice coming from the senior center, two ladies driving, I hate to say ladies, but there were ladies driving the car, coming down Borden Street, talking on cell phones, not paying attention to the crosswalk. Went right in front of me, again, in the middle of the crosswalk as I was trying to cross over. Twice. So that's 3 times, the bus and 2 ladies.
Thank you, Ruth. Is there anybody from West? Mrs. Ross?
As an example, yesterday I went to come to the bus terminal, and I always come to that place where they have to push the light. And a lot of times, even though their light is red, they will go right through that light. It happened to me again yesterday. And I think you remember Bill. He almost got hit in the wheelchair at that Dunkin' Donuts light. And the one up in front of our building, there are people that come that are in wheelchairs that try to get across the street, and no car will let them go out into the street. It's terrible.
How about the van? How about the van that drops
Yeah,
the
well,
people?
the vans pop right in the crosswalk
Yeah.
too.
That has to be stopped.
To stop the cars to bad.
Yes, Mr. Bell?
Pat, over at Borden West, during a course of maybe 5 to 6 days, I have to assist wheelchairs, at least 7 or 8 a week, to stop, to get the cars to stop in the crosswalk just for those wheelchairs. Myself, along with another group of people, we sit outside and our hearts are in our mouths because we see those people go into the crosswalk about 4 feet in, and the cars, and when we stop the cars, we get 4-letter expletives thrown at us, we get fingers thrown at us. It's horrible, it's absolutely horrible. And I can't understand why a city like Fall River can't do crosswalks things like Somerset, Swansea, Westport. I've never seen a crosswalks thing once. I talked to Wendell Burke from the Motor Traffic Division one time, and I asked Wendell, along with my car, I said, you know, I'd appreciate it if one of you guys could just stand on the side and just watch the crosswalk in front of our building. And Wendell Burke's word to me was he couldn't believe it. But yet, nothing gets done. Lorraine, Pauline, along with a few other residents, we're still out in that crosswalk assisting those wheelchairs across. Something's got to get done. Somebody's going to get killed. I guarantee it. They're going to get killed in that crosswalk.
I'm sure the gentleman behind you has listened very, very carefully to what you said, and hopefully the gentleman that controls that area, as the police speak, will pay attention to that maybe tomorrow. Yes?
Well, as the chief said, whatever your concerns are, we're going to address. Okay? I'm unaware of what's being said here today because I don't normally patrol this area here. However, these concerns that you're mentioning tonight, or any concerns that you mentioned tonight, will be forwarded to the chief's office on a report by myself, and we will address those as soon as possible.
Thank you, that's what we're looking for. Okay, moving on to
Excuse me.
Is there anyone here from the bus room? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Regarding the crosswalks, one of the reasons, as you may know, they're doing a CSO project on 3rd and Borden. Those crosswalks, unfortunately, are going to be taken apart, and there's going to be a heavy construction going on there. So it wasn't really worth, doing thermoplastic when it was going to be ripped apart. As you well know, also the courthouse, they're going to start construction in 3 weeks. They have that crosswalk that's on 2nd Street is they're going to have fencing there, so that crosswalk will not be able to be utilized. So we're asking you not to use that crosswalk when construction is going on. They're going to be putting fencing. You'll have to cross here at 3rd and Borden to go wherever you need to go. You can still use the alleyway between Dunkin' Donuts. They're going to leave a walk path and a wheelchair accessible. But you won't be able to cross up on top because of the trucks that are going to be in and out. And for your safety, I really don't recommend that you use that crosswalk.
How about South Main Street?
South Main Street.
Are you saying that they're going to have to cross the street from Borden to where the parking
No,
area
they
is
can,
and go down that way?
well, they can cross at Borden and go up Borden if they want to cut through to go to Dunkin' Donuts or to South Main. They are going to leave that open for pedestrians and wheelchair accessible. I'm just talking about the crosswalk. I'm just saying that in about 3 to 4 weeks, fencing is going to go up, trucks are going to be in and out. I don't think it would be safe for someone to cross when you can't go anywhere once the fence is up. So just use safety not to do that.
Okay, I think I understand what you're saying, but unfortunately, these crosswalks have been here for the life of the building, 26 years. And, you know, if we haven't solved it in 26 years, then I think we need to really study it and find out why.
Well, I think that once the courthouse is established and before it was even opened up to the public, there's going to be a lot of changes regarding crosswalks, pedestrian lights. The one on South Main is going to be changed. So there are some good things coming. The only thing is we have to be patient and wait until that's all done. Well, that's why we're asking to be very careful. There is the one here at Borden and 3rd that will be utilized for you to cross. Just be careful not to use the other one.
Yeah, because they go right through the stop sign when they're on.
The only thing that I can do is I can put up more signage that says pedestrian crossing. I know.
And then we have to go down, we have walkers, we have to go down those hills to get down.
Well, I think what'll happen is, you know, when that situation comes, if there's a big issue, you'll have to call my office, and then we'll try to come here with the police department to see if there's something else that we can do.
We have a resident who has something to say.
And yes, and the temper cross the street over here, that means when we come back, we have to climb that hill every time.
That's right.
That's the back hill we climb.
And that's why my leg is like this.
We come in by the side door because there's no hill.
Handicap walk.
You know, I just think it's going to be very dangerous when they start having trucks coming down.
I think it's going to be studied and I think
Just a question. When this goes together, when this traffic plan goes together, will there be any type of traffic study? I mean, there must be some rules that will be followed given the bus station and everything. Is that planned? Is that part of what's going to happen?
To be totally honest with you, I don't know if they're going to send a letter to the Cernibus to let them know that construction is going to start in 3 weeks. I don't know if there's communication with that.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is take this information to the council. We'll get a couple of them requests out, and they make a good point on the traffic pattern. So I know around schools there's a certain traffic pattern we have to follow, and you know that's dynamically going to change the downtown. So probably that's what we'll get into and have all that put together.
All right, we're going to move on because obviously we're not going to solve that problem this evening. The bus terminal that's across the street. Can anybody tell me if that's temporary or permanent?
Joe Bisco might know the answer to that.
Please, Joe.
That's temporary. Where it's going to go permanently is still up in the air. I would think that it's going to be some, if not there. You can look around in the general area. There aren't too many places where that could go. They want that centralized. So there's nothing concrete yet, but I wouldn't bet the farm on it, but it's a pretty good guess that I think that bus terminal is going to be right there.
And that brings to mind a lot of other questions for us because we've had a noise increase problem due to the bus terminal. We've been fortunate that CERTA has tried to accommodate and not use the PA system until after 8 o'clock in the morning instead of at 6:30 and 6 o'clock. But I think we need to speak with someone who represents the bus terminal and who can maybe work something out with our residents so that we can be good neighbors. I have people that on the front of the building that have loved living in that area who are now saying to me, gee, can you transfer me to the back of the building? This is an elderly and disabled site, as well as the West Building. We can't infringe on the rights of our elders, and it looks like that's what we're doing at this point.
Well, what time
And
of day?
how can we work together to resolve it?
There is a noise ordinance in the city. I'll read it to you. It takes in the buses. All noises that menace the health or interrupt or disturb sleep of residents of the city between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. on weekdays, and 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. on Sundays are hereby prohibited. Without limiting the generality of the subsequent list of this section, it is intended by this section that the following noises are prohibited. Those caused by trucks, the loading and unloading of trucks, all types of mechanical devices, including lawnmowers and animals and birds. Now, even though it doesn't say buses, as far as I'm concerned, that's included.
Is it possible for you to check to see if this ordinance is being violated?
Well, what time do the buses start up in the morning?
I think they start up at 5.
Yeah, she wants us right. She wants us right.
5:45.
All right. So between 5:30 and 6 o'clock, they start up. What time do they stop at night?
10 o'clock.
Probably can't do much about anything on that end, but if they're starting up that early, we can address it.
We have a hand up in the audience. Teresa? Teresa? Stand up.
Well, we can mention that to the PPW, I'm sure they can, something about this schedule.
I think I need you to address it. It's not being violated, please.
I have a problem with the road ordinance. Every night at 2 a.m., the street sweepers.
As I said, I should speak to Jason Chico and the DPW.
I called and it doesn't give me any quicker, you try.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What?
Yeah, just an item on the street sweeping thing. We can make a request of the DPW because they set the schedule, and we've had other complaints because there's now a more aggressive attempt to clean the city, and you're not the only ones that are complaining. And what they need to do is they need to do the remote areas of the city at that particular time. So you're not alone in that particular problem. So the DPW director will be asked to reassign and try to get it at a different time. I mean, there's other times that we have light traffic here, and that's Saturday and things like that. So we'll put that request in for you. But you're not alone. As we aggressively try to clean the city, what happens is we get in trouble with the noise. So we'll try to get them out of here at night, okay?
Yes.
Regarding the question, is it necessary for them to announce the buses so loudly? I can have we have double windows in this building. I've had both my windows closed because it was hot out. I had the air conditioner going. I had the TV on because I was waiting for a specific program. I was in the kitchen washing dishes and I heard them announce the buses, which is about 2 blocks away. I went to the window. No one got on that bus. A couple of people got off, but no one got on.
What time was it? Approximately.
This is all afternoon and
Well,
early
if
evening.
it's during normal working hours, you're hard pressed to do anything about it. We can speak to them and ask them to lower the volume.
I did. I called her. I said, there's no need to. The people are outside waiting for that bus. She said, well, I have to announce it inside. I said, well, then announce it inside.
I agree with you, what you're saying, I've heard it a number of times, and I'll speak to them
Well,
about
she
it.
hung up on it. My job, and she hung up on it.
Joe, I talked to, we have another situation because Lou Patine, who's the director, retired last week from the operation of the Serta buses. And there'll be someone else coming in, and Lou said that he would come here in a subsequent meeting, but he couldn't come this week because it's the first week of his retirement. And I did speak to him about noise and some of the issues, so we can get him here, and if anybody's hanging up on anybody over there, we're gonna get that straightened out. But in the meantime, Joe, we have the decibel thing, we've checked on noise for different plants and things around the city, and I don't think they should be any different here. So I don't know what mechanism you use for that decibel check, but I think it's moving in that direction because with all the activity that's going to be here, we're going to have good neighbors. In other words, the new things moving in, and then there's going to be the courthouse moving in, and things like that. So hopefully some of these requests get some attention. Do you have a, how do you do that with the decibels?
We've had a couple of places in the city where we had problems with noises, like air conditioners running on these refrigerated trucks all night. Things like that. And what had happened, I called the police department because they're the only ones who have that decibel counter. And on more than one occasion, they went down and they took the readings. And if the readings were too high, then we wrote these people up. We'll do the same thing over there. I'll write a letter to Jack Souza, the chief, and I'll ask that we do that again. And we'll do that. On occasion, they went down and they took the readings. And if the readings were too high, then we wrote these people up. We'll do the same thing over there. I'll write a letter to Jack Souza, the chief, and I'll ask that we do that again. And we'll do that.
Speaking, you might think people giving up the point really.
Right, well, that's the police. The police are usually...
We called the police, we looked out the window, the police would go right by. Hello? That's true.
Well, the only other thing anybody can do is we'll approach the licensing board, and they in turn will get a hold of the club managers or owners and say, hey, listen, you guys got to try and do something. And what some of them usually say is, hey, once these people get outside, they cross the street or something like that, it's out of their control.
We're gonna make them hire a policeman to be there at midnight when they close and get rid of those.
Oh, I was going to get that. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
Because we can't sleep.
And another.
I don't mind the morning, I don't care about the morning, I'm up, but I can't sleep at night, I need to.
And another thing, they sell livestock, which is built for that.
Livestock?
They have they sell cows.
Livestock. In the alley.
Excuse me. Hello. Let someone speak and be heard, please. Thank you.
BYO.
I was asking where they're selling the livestock.
BYO, right outside of the BYO on Anaheim Street. Suriana Bank.
I was awake like,
Oh.
I looked out my back window, there's cows, goats, there was chickens running all around behind the sea window, and I hollered out, hey, you, and I called the police station, they didn't respond, I called a second time, they came 45 minutes later, all of a sudden, the cows loaded out the door. 2 cows, or whatever.
Let me say this, and I'm not defending what's going on over there, but I have been at feast in the city this year where they've sold cattle. I was right there. No, not on Main Street, it was on Pine Street. But wait, they had a license, they've done everything legal. But what's going on down there is probably illegal.
Yeah, but this is like 2 o'clock.
I understand.
And there's a lot of that stuff going on like that. Runs 7 to 7
All right.
discussing? Because we really can't hear it up here. Yes, Mr. Mello?
Pat, while we're on the subject of those clubs,
Yes.
it's gotta be known, within 100 feet of our building, within 100 feet, we have 3 liquor establishments. Now, those liquor establishments, they have valet parking. Valet parking. It's going on right now at Borden West, right next door at the Trio Cafe. The Portuguese Cultural Club every weekend has valet parking on Saturday afternoon, Saturday nights. The Trio Cafe has valet parking 6 nights a week. Now, the Assyriana Fan Club, which is within 100 feet of our entrance, they have valet parking. I confronted each organization, and they said that they had permits from the traffic department. Now, what I would like to know, and I addressed this to the traffic department, who in God's name would issue them permits to take up needed parking spaces where we need them so badly on South Main Street? The parking on South Main Street is so bad for us. We can't get relatives to come and visit us on a weekend under threat of being towed. We had a couple of residents with handicap placards try to park with those cones where they put them out. They're their own cones. And they threaten them. If your car is gonna park there, you're gonna need a paint job when you come out. Now, what I wanna know is where are our visitors and our guests supposed to park? We have our own parking, like Borden East, Borden West, we have assigned parking. Visitors cannot park there. They have to park in the street. But why do we street club owners, why do they have the right to put those cones on that street and block that street? Cause parking, but also a problem with emergency vehicles getting by, because they're all lined up waiting for the next valet to come along. In the meantime, ambulances are at a total stop. And here's the lights going, the sirens going, and you gotta wait for the next valet to take the next car, the next valet to take the next car. Why can't these clubs just put a sign in their doorway, parking in the rear? They rent those lots anyway. They rent them because that's where the valets are parking these vehicles. But they're eating up all our parking spaces. Like I said, we have personal care attendants that come in to take care of our handicapped residents. They can't even get a parking spot. We've had personal care attendants tell their supervisors that they don't want to work in our building because they can't park their car. They have to park 2-3 blocks away. By the time they leave, sometimes 10, 11 o'clock at night, they're being harassed by all these club patrons that are on the sidewalk smoking and drinking. Those establishments are not telling those patrons, you cannot take your drink out on the sidewalk. They're doing it. They're doing it. But the main issue, not to get away from the main issue, the main issue is, I want to know why. We've had police cruisers pull up, we've complained about it, I've talked to the walking beat about it, and all they keep saying is, call the watch captain, call the watch. I call the watch captain. My son-in-law is a sergeant on a police force. He told me, call the watch captain. We do. Where do we go? Where do we go from here? I mean, the police, they see these cones there, and they just drive right by. They don't ask them if they have permission to put those cones there. I just find it very hard to believe that the traffic department authorized that. I find that very hard to believe.
The traffic department did not authorize it. It came to our attention.
Wait a minute, Polly.
She's from the traffic. They do not have authorization to put cones on the street. They were told not to do that. They assured us.
They're still doing it. They're doing it tonight.
They assured us that they weren't doing that any longer. If you see them doing it,
Right now.
the only people that can remove the cones is the police department. I mean, I can go down there and take the cones out,
Yep.
and they can go back and do it again.
Yep.
But Trio was told that they had to come in front of the traffic board to get signs, not cones.
Yep.
Now, they have done that, but the procedure is not complete completely done yet, because it has to go in front of the ordinance committee, it's gonna go to the council.
I would like to be made aware when those are gonna happen, because I would like to be there.
But he was told, in the meantime, there is nothing that he can do. He should not be putting homes out on the street. That's a public way.
Okay.
And they should not.
I
be
understand
out.
that. Then what's with the Portuguese Cultural Club? They're the ones that started it.
I don't know anything about that. They
And
have
those are
not
the
come
only
in
three
front-
organizations in the whole city that do that.
They have
And they're right
not-
next to our building.
The Portuguese, they have not come in front of us.
They're doing it every
Well, they're doing
single
it illegally.
And each club sometimes takes as many as 2 needed parking spots. 2 of them. Or 3 at times, depending on how big their function is.
I think she's the one that comes to me. Yeah, she's the one that runs the well, they don't have anything. They would have to show you because they don't have anything. There's
I'd like to move this on because I know there's other people that might have some questions.
That's fine.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you at least open the dialogue. They know where we're coming from, and I think you brought some things to their attention that they weren't aware of.
Yeah.
Now, does anybody have any other issues to address other than the sidewalks? Thank you.
You know,
Mrs. Sherry.
our driveway here, I consider it to be a blind driveway. And there's people up in cars, on cell phones, driving, not paying attention, speeding, going from 2nd Street on to Borden soon. And if you're trying to make a left turn, you know, fireworks, really. So I don't know who that goes to.
I feel like this traffic division.
It is a blind driveway.
Is it on private property, what we're talking about? It's a blind driveway. In other words, right out here?
Right up the street.
All right, we have an ordinance on that. I can look for it, it'll take me a couple of minutes, and that's, it addresses that. In other words, we have some spots in the city where people grow shrubs, and they live on a corner lot. And you can't see cars coming the other way. It specifically addresses this in here. I can take me a few minutes, I'll find it, but I'll look at it during the daytime. And if it looks like it's going to create a problem on private property, not on a street, I'll send the management or whoever a letter here, and maybe we can do something about it. But I have to look at it.
It's when you make the left turn.
Is this driveway right over
Yes,
here?
they're coming around the corner at full speed. You're trying to make, you know, it looks
I
clear.
understand, but is there brushes or something?
No,
Bushes
no,
right?
no,
But what's
no.
making it
It's
a
the
blind
speed.
corner?
It's like come down Second Street.
It's a turn I can't do anything about. I thought there was an obstruction.
No, no, there is no obstruction. But is there any way that you can put it with something that says driveway?
Well, I don't think the sign says driveway, but I think one of the things that we have to do is blind, you know, dangerous.
Or dangerous.
Or, unfortunately, we can put that sign up on both sides, but it's really the driver of the car that really needs to see that sign and realize that we need to slow down. So it's a matter of the vehicles paying attention and realizing it, that cars can come out of this way. So we can put up the sign without a problem, and it doesn't have to go in front of the traffic laws, but we can come up with dangerous turn, dangerous curve,
Yeah, dangerous
blind
curve.
drive, you know, we can put something like
Right.
that. But it really takes the driver of the vehicle to really pay attention to that. And that's,
Well, when they're on the phone,
If you're walking down 3rd Street, right by the buses on, so you go around the bus and you look to make sure there's no traffic coming. By that time, you're halfway in the road, and the traffic coming around the corner will not stop, even though you're in the middle of the road. Something has to be done. They won't stop for pedestrians, even though you're right inside the crosswalk.
Me and my wife were walking up the Hague there before they went out. Somebody came down the sidewalk and most of the two of us come out of the driveway. Walking right down the sidewalk. We come back to the roadway, we go over here. Coming down here, like that. What's going on?
We put up years ago, they put on saftey, we put one over there. They went to saftey.
Well, I'd just like to say that a lot of these issues here we'll be bringing back to the council, and I was just discussing this with building management Pat, and we will be having a series, I guess, of these meetings, and hopefully, you know, the next one will have a quorum so we can do the full public safety committee meeting where we can write letters and things. But I think this was very, very productive this evening. And as somebody mentioned when they come in, they said these people are very serious because they're down here and there's no coffee or donuts or anything. So, but I understand we will be back here for a candidates night on the 17th, and you'll have a crack at all of us at that particular point. But just like to say a couple of things here. I know your frustration, and I'm frustrated too because, number one, I never voted for the courthouse over here when I came by the city council on one of the dissenting votes. And you know that. And I also didn't vote for 1 cent to fund the city hall they're trying to rebuild over here. And now we find out it's 3 years out and probably going to cost a little over $10 million. But, I just take an opportunity, seeing that this is not a full, open public city council meeting and it's more of an informal get-together, I can say that. So that's where my record stands. But again, thank you very much, and Pat, thank you for you and the building management. And anytime you get a group like this together, you get listened to. And I know that we'll be listening to you and your concerns. And we did have people here from the council office that was able to take a few notes informally, and we'll be doing something about that when I speak to my colleagues. So thank you very much, and hope to see you real soon. And we're going to put another meeting together. Do you want to do it in, say, late November? Or early December? It's up to you.
I think November.
November? Okay, late November, we'll pick another date, we'll re-advertise, and we will be back. So, thank you very much.
Thank you for attending, and I appreciate all the city officials that did come. And remember, keep notes, so at the next meeting, we can present them, and hopefully we'll get some things done. Thank you for coming.